love it. I love it. Okay, we're live, guys. Facebook, welcome. If you don't know, last week we missed because Catherine's father passed away. And so I want to talk about life getting in the way. And I put in quotations of marriage, but like, honestly, nothing got in the way with my wife's father passing, with our marriage. It just other stuff got put to the side. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Balancing priorities. And so I don't know who's going to jump on today and what kind of questions you guys are going to have today, but like, you know, James and I are pretty big proponents of basically whatever you want in life, you go get it all at the same time. But sometimes you're not living life in a vacuum. Things happen. My wife's father passed, or Catherine bought me a C4 Corvette for Father's Day. I should have had that painted in a week, and I think I have had it for 3.5 weeks, and I can't even get it done. Like today, you know what's getting in the way today, James? Because I'm sanding it and painting it and stuff all in between my calls and all my calls and whatever, right? Well, you know what? It's too hot. So I'm cleaning the wet sanding, and it's leaving streaks. So I have to wait until it's cold in the morning to be able to clean that, right? Or else I'll have streaks.
And what are you going to do, man? Why can't you get control of the weather, brother? What's wrong with you?
I know, and that's the problem. Like life gets in the way, and people you lose your priorities when it comes to what needs, like what actually matters. Like
that's
what?
Right.
You know? So I know you got a lot going on right now. You just said you had a great momentum call today. Josh is kicking butt. I was on his business call yesterday. If you guys don't know,
business calls getting a lot of traction, man. It's good stuff.
Holy shit, man. If you guys don't know, 98% of people that come to us are broke, and that's part of the problems in your marriage. And so we had a guy, one of our mentors, who said, hey, you know what? I'm really good at making money. And some of us are. But Josh in particular is good at like 6-figure businesses within 90 to 120 days, using one to fuel the other. And I was on that call. It was a 2-hour call, supposed to be 1 hour. It was a 2-hour and 10-minute call last night. People's hands were flying up. They were wanting to make money. They were they were excited. Their questions were all over. So I know they'd all been through the content and were thinking about what was applicable to them. James, I haven't seen anything like that in any business course, any marriage course, any health course that we've ever done. Like it was unreal. It was unreal. I'm excited. Yeah.
I talked to Josh today, man. He's so excited and a little bit overwhelmed because, you know, just like everything we do, we try it, we see what happens, and it's always more amazing than we ever thought possible. We can't imagine what's happening with some of the stuff that we're doing right now. It's just so phenomenal.
Yeah. And so listen, so I just left to come do this live because we missed last week for sure. I wanted to do it today. Okay. Yeah. And Catherine's really disappointed. Okay. Catherine is like, oh, baby, she's been busy all day and we haven't connected much. And so she's disappointed because last night I didn't get to hang out with her because I was on this call at 9 p.m. until 11, 10.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, you know, what I wanted to say is like life will get in the way. I needed to be there to support Josh. But, you know, after this call, I'm going to go hang out with my wife. I have another call a little bit later, and then I'm going to hang out with my wife. You know what I mean? I'm going to balance the weather with what's going on with my car, and I'll figure that out probably at 6 a.m. when it's cool. You know what I mean? And like, I think that more people need to do shit like that. You know, we're sitting there blaming the weather, like you said, for the life that we can't have and the things that we don't want, instead of just realizing we could do more.
We can.
You know?
We can. Yeah. You know, we talked some maybe a month or so ago about balance, you know, and you always hear people, well, I just got to find more balance, but really is it about intention? And intention is where you give your energy, your time, your effort, your affection, your money, where it's needed at the moment. And sometimes those needs are more urgent than others. And so how do you determine like when that happens? And we talked about it. It's really your values, what's most important at the time. And sometimes, even though like marriage is of the preeminence, it's the preeminent relationship, sometimes it's not the most urgent relationship. But when some things happen, it can flip. You know, sometimes the kids have more urgency. Sometimes the business has more urgency. The problem comes is when we always think, I've got to put all my time here so that I can make sure one day I'll have time there. That's the Cats in the Cradle song. We never will ever have all the time. So give it where it's needed flexibly, and don't think it's a failure just because you don't have time at this point, or that you have to let something else go. People, listen, funerals are a good eye opener, because when I die, the next day, everybody's going back to work. The sun's going to come up. The birds are going to sing. And nobody's going to skip a beat. Well, we need to have that mindset. when things come up, you know what? We're going to take time out. All this stuff will be here tomorrow, and we
Mhm.
can deal with it then.
That's so beautiful, especially with what happened with Catherine's father passing away here. I mean, like most people, when somebody close to you passes, she's reflecting hard. How much do I want to work? What am I doing with my time? What she's even down to, like, which animals do I want to start making sure I'm taking care of? She created an animal rescue, just like she's called the Crazy Chicken Lady or something. I can't remember. A new little page, and she's getting everybody's special needs chickens right now. Right? Like,
Wow.
it's crazy when death enters you. You can have some grieving, and she did. Don't get me wrong. And I talked, and we got no sound. I'm not sure why I have no sound, because we can hear each other, which means maybe it's on your end. Essentially, when your priorities start to shift, you just talked about it with intention, and you're present. We talked about yesterday on Josh's new business call, right? We talked about the lanes. Somebody started talking about their, like, 5 business ideas. Okay. Josh went right away. So I was letting Josh do all the talking first because it's his course. And then he was talking about picking a lane. And then I talked about the lane of distraction, right? The lane of distraction. I showed them the Smash TV on my, here you guys go. This is a reel coming out. You're not broke. You're stupid watching Netflix. Okay. Like, it's what you do with that lane of distraction. If you can remove that lane of distraction, you can get everything that you need done, right? But some things will be delayed, right? So it's going to take a month to do a 1-week paint job of a car. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. You know what I mean? Catherine was just doing a one-on-one with some 2-on-1 shoot. She was working with some clients, one-on-one clients, and they were talking about priorities in life and just saying, I don't want to. We talk about that a lot, right? And amazing. And, and her, you're working with her. We're not working with him as much as he should be, but amazing how much peace she's getting with the path to freedom, working on momentum and realizing it's okay if I'm not a priority, if he's got this and this and that to do, but I just want to hear it.
Yeah.
I just want to hear it, because life gets in the way. He's got a big job, or, sure, Catherine wanted me to work less on the Corvette like 5 days ago. And I think I worked on it like 1 day and 7 days on her shit. Right. But it's what she needed at the moment.
That's right.
Right. Life gets in the way of the moment or of the marriage. And if you can balance those moments, your marriage can flourish. I think, be open.
That's right.
Honest.
Yeah. And the one of the things too that just comes to mind as you talked about those things is I remember times in my life where you're so focused on something and it's really important. And then somebody comes in with a little bit of a need, like your wife or your kids, or something happens, and you get frustrated because you feel like you can't do it all. And then if you can't do it all, you feel like you're going to be a failure. And that's one of the things that we've seen, brother, that we've helped men and women just get out of that mindset. It's okay to feel the frustration, but what you do then is you go, why am I frustrated? I'm frustrated because I feel like I can't do it. And the truth is you can't. So sit back, breathe, and focus on things like that, on what you can accomplish. We talk about focus on what you can't when it comes to growth.
Yes.
But you focus on what you can when it comes to urgency.
Yes.
When things are flying at your face and the damn hurricane, try to get to the eye because the rest of the storm's coming. Just hold tight and don't get so frustrated, and just be open about, hey, you know what? I'm afraid of this. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to try. Here's where I'm going to go. But right now I'm here.
Yeah.
And sometimes for men, we don't have to fix it all either. Sometimes they just want us to be present.
Oh, dude, we talked about that like massive the other day on a training on the app. If you guys don't know, we have an app. It's called go.morrowmarriage. It's not called Morrow, but the website to get to is go.morrowmarriage.com. And yeah, we have so many resources that will take you down this path. And we talked about that, Dennis and I, the other day. Too many guys are trying to fucking fix everything instead of just being there. And why? This is really cool, James. I was so proud of Dennis. Dennis is our lead mentor, if you don't know. And he was talking, he tied it back to, because we try to make it about us, right? We try to fix it so that we are worthy, so that we are not a failure. And that means it's about us. So the example was, of course, Catherine's father passing, and Dennis piped up because so one of the first things I did when we found out the actual day when he passed away, I already had my videographer at the house. Okay. So like I'm doing what I need to get done, or actually maybe it was the day before, but anyways, no, it was that day. So when I found out we're filming, and that's a big bill, so I had to finish, and that sucks. Life's getting in the way of marriage right now. Okay. Now, if it had been an all-day thing, I would have fucking figured it out, but it was like another hour and a half. What I did, James, was I got in the car and I drove out. I've been to a farm twice that Catherine picks up chickens from, and I just picked up 2 fucking chickens, knocked on the door. Hey, Allie, sorry to be a creep, but my wife just had some bad news. Can I have 2 chickens? And I had to find the place. We went down a couple wrong roads and whatever and all this stuff. Bring the chickens home, and I go, hey, baby, how you doing? She goes, I'm having a really hard time. I go, here, this is feeling, this is better. And I gave her the 2 chickens. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't trying to make it about me. I know chickens lift my wife, and so I wanted to give her something. And Dennis picked up on it that most of us try to make it about us when we want things to feel better. And that's why we're trying to fix it. I think especially men, but women do it too. I mean, we have Sierra says, you know, thanks for supporting and watching. But she says, my question would be, how do I be the woman to make my husband want to make me a priority rather than a job or a roommate? See, right there, we're trying to fix it and making it about us. And what you have to understand is what you're missing if you're, you know, you're a job to your spouse, if you're a roommate, if you're enemies, what you're missing is connection, which means the best thing that you could do, Sierra, is actually reach out and connect with, right? You're the one that's in, you're the one that's watching, so you're the one that leads. And if you're not trying to fix it, what is it that you want? You want to connect. You want to be a priority. Make him a priority right now. But don't sacrifice who you are and the value that you bring. Who are you as a person? Relationships are value. That's all it is. So are you valuable or are you not? Are you saying that I'm valuable and then complaining and shutting down or getting mad and getting defensive, right? If you stop making it about you and make it about the woman you want to be and how you can deliver the value in the relationship, then he'll have a choice. He can join you for the fucking wild ride, or you'll probably move on, right?
Yeah, it's funny as you're talking, I'm thinking about all this stuff. You know, we're talking about when life gets in the way of marriage.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, and one of the things that we do at Momentum Path to Freedom is we really take something and we ask, you know, well, why is this the way it is? Or why do we see things the way we see things? And then we reframe it in the context of where we want to go with it. And here's a reframe for this mindset. Instead of thinking that life gets in the way of marriage, life in its problems is part of how we navigate the marriage. So the marriage never goes anywhere. The question is when we feel like life's getting in the way, what this is an opportunity to lead. It's an opportunity to show up. It's an opportunity for failure, for success, for wins, for losses. And this is a mindset that I think everybody needs to really think about. You're not going to get it overnight, but the spouse that feels like, you know, they're being neglected, then the spouse that feels like they need to do more to fix it, this part of it. So when things get in the way, what is it actually getting in the way of? And I would say that if we feel that draw, if we feel that void when something happens, we're either obligating ourselves in such a way that we're fearful or that we aren't communicating or having conversations about, or we're coming to a place where we're discovering an area of need in our marriage. So without this in the way, the marriage isn't going to grow. The relationship's not going to grow because these obstacles or these feelings or these distractions or these, you know, empty spaces show us where we have a need. So it's not like, well, you need to grow up, you need to get over it, you need to be okay. No, it shows if James has life in the way and, you know, Robin comes along and goes, hey, you know, I just don't feel like we've had conversation in a while. That's an area of discovery. That's an area of growth to go, hey, you know what, when I'm head down here, I need to start making sure that I'm paying attention to the relationship because it's part of it. So I guess I hope that's making sense.
I'm gonna tie it back for the listeners because this is really, really good. This is gold. Okay. So what James is getting at is simply a couple of things. One, you don't have marriage problems. You have personal fucking problems. Life is getting in the way. And if you can address the shit in the way, you know, in a way that doesn't deprioritize or take away from the person that you want to be. So deprioritize the marriage or take away from the person you want to be. You can address you it's an opportunity for growth. And what he means, guys, is simple. Let's take marriage out of it because everybody comes to us with a struggling marriage. Okay. So let's take that away from it. And let's think about it. Anytime that you wanted to start a business, you wanted a new promotion, you wanted more for your children for a sports team, something like this. Okay. Without the struggle, there is no next level. So if you're starting a business, let's say, okay, well, I have to learn how to make $5,000 a month. That's a pretty big goal for a lot of people starting, and it's pretty standard. Okay. And then you want to make that to 5,000. Well, there's a struggle there first. And without achieving the success of using the failure forward, you don't have the opportunity to go from $5,000 to $10,000. So let's go back to Sierra, who had the roommate issue. What James talked about was a deep conversation, as example with his wife. Great. He's got other things on the go. If you get through the hard conversation, the awkward silences turn to comfortable silences. You're not afraid and taking it personal if you're rejected starting a conversation or a flirt or a date or whatever. You discover and you feel better and fine with the fact that you're not dependent on them to just say, have fun. Okay. Like I'll use an example we use in the reset when we teach men. Hey, babe, do you want to dance? And you put on a song that you know that they love. And then you start to just dance on YouTube, like put on YouTube and dance in the living room. If they don't want to join you, why does their not wanting to join you deter you from moving forward? Now, what James is talking about, though, is when they finally do step up and say, you know what, fuck, you're having fun 3 times in a row, and I'm calling you an idiot. I guess I shouldn't have done that. And they take your hand and they dance with you. That struggle you went through is the reason you grew. Now you're actually having a fun time. So I hope you guys really understood that. If you missed it, go back when James explained it, because there is no success without failing forward. And that struggle is the opportunity for your growth, right?
That's right. And that's with everything. And that's one thing that we teach at Morrow is that, everybody likes to talk about the wins and what have you. And, in the infant stages of personal growth and stuff like that, it's good. But at the end of the day, when you've actually come to a place of knowing who you are and learning to embody the tools of really just growing, not only in the relationships around you, but most importantly, the relationship with yourself, you begin to long for, you almost like can't wait to see the next problem, because the problem becomes precious, because the problem is going to launch you into the next level, like what Cass is saying. The triggers, the things that trigger you are going to show you something about yourself that you're actually able to get into the mode of living out some of the things that you've learned. So for example, if there's not a temptation, if there's not a problem, if there's not a confrontation, how do you know that you've actually embodied these things if you never get an opportunity to act on them? It's sort of like when you learn personal defense or martial arts or something like that, and you never get into a fight. And then so all of a sudden somebody gets in your face and you realize, wow, I just stood there and I de-escalated this rather than jumping in and beating this guy's butt. I'm well equipped to beat him, but I didn't have to. Versus 10 years before, you just ended up going to jail because you ended up in a ballroom fight, and that's the way you have to look at it. Anyone that thinks that life success is paved of a path of smooth sailing is literally dead in the water. If you're not sailing on rough waters, you're going nowhere. You're going nowhere.
You just remind me of a lesson that I teach only on coaching calls, but we talk about what would happen if somebody hurt your child, right? And everybody always jumps right to, I got to solve it. I got to fucking take care of that person. How dare they do that? And like, what good are you going to do with your child and their future in jail, right?
Yeah.
Like, what good are you going to do? The struggle and the success that you have and the role modeling you can do for your child, as bad as that is, and your mind went wherever it went, but like, the struggle is the success that you'll have and the example that you'll set, and the more people you can impact and prevent this from happening to other people, right? But we tend to try to just make this about us. Life gets in the way. Now I have this upset child and what they should never have gone through, and we fucking, now that's affecting the marriage, now it's affecting my career and all this shit. You don't realize the power you have in the moment in response versus reaction. Maria says, so what do you do if you are similar but different beliefs? Well, I think you could give us more information, but a big one that comes up with that is faith. We have Orthodox versus Christian. Like but there's lots of different things. You could say, you believe you're supposed to have sex every day, and somebody believes, a couple times a week is lots, So I don't know what you're looking at, Maria, but you have to be connected, and then you find compromise. The world's most renowned marriage therapists are John and Julie Gottman. They'll say 2/3 of problems are not solvable, which means you must have a compromise. Catherine and I no longer believe that. We now believe that you can solve more. We don't have a number, but we believe you can solve more because in connection, you breed compromise, which is actually exciting. I'll give you a really, really easy example. I cannot stand all the fucking animals all the time. The chickens, the goats, the fucking, now we got a bunny rabbit this week, like it's just a lot. I don't like it. It's like a big fucking giant toilet. There's a lot of responsibility that I take on because I'm taking care of coops and waterers and, whatever she needs built. And, I had to take care humanely. I had to Google how to humanely kill a chicken because it was sick and not making it. I take care of that. I don't want to do shit like that. But in is the belief there is that having animals is a great lifestyle versus having animals is not a great lifestyle. So Maria, when you're connected, you'll do whatever you got to do for your partner for what the roles. I have new responsibilities, you find a way, but I believe that it's so much more to do with connection than your beliefs. I will stand behind anything that Catherine wants, needs, whatever. Catherine had those one-on-ones today and that priority conversation where she is like she got off the phone. She said, I think she even said to them, I couldn't deal with what you're talking about. Cass makes me a priority for absolutely everything. But at the end of the day, that's because she also makes me a priority. We're connected. We're connected, Maria. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. And that's important. That's important to understand too, is that you can only do what you can do. And what you can do is not compromise who you are or your values or your beliefs for the sake of wanting someone else to see you or love you. And at the same time, real connection and real love can find an intersectionality, can find a place to come together in some of these different viewpoints. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to cause tension. And that tension in and of itself is life getting in the way. Life getting in the way of the marriage. And then you have to ask yourself, well, who am I and what's important right now? Can I love this person with this different belief? Is it a belief that we just don't talk politics? We don't talk religion. We don't talk this, that, and the other. Or is it a belief on, I want to spank the kids and they don't want to spank the kids?
That's a big one.
But if you love one another, that means you have decided in your will, you've made a decision to actually put their needs and their desires as a priority. Then you will come to the table with intimacy and with empathy and with compassion rather than contempt and frustration. And then you'd be surprised how far that goes.
I think that gives me such a good example for all of you guys. So the typical response when somebody says something they've already told you, you would say to them, yes, you told me. Okay. But when you're connected and or you want to connect more, what you say to them is nothing. You listen and you're excited. You ask more questions. I hear the same fucking story 3 times a day about whichever chicken Catherine's taking care of because they're all special needs. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, right? I know about the different breedings and what she's doing, and I can't keep it all straight in my head because it's not something that matters to me, but I can ask questions every time and be engaged. But see, normally you get contemptuous like James is talking about. You feel resentment. Like this is life getting in the way. Catherine's life has changed. Nowhere in the history or of us dating or the radar of what the future could look like did it look like we were going to be taking on whatever it is, 80 chickens now and more coming. Like,
great,
nowhere. And that means that life gets in the way. What does that mean of marriage? Well, because we talk about chickens a lot more than I want to, like a lot more. Okay. There's a lot more rescue stuff that I'm going to talk about. Now that also goes over to my daughter, Briar, who's vegan, been vegan since she was 2. It's a choice. She does not want to hurt animals. So we have to talk about some of these slaughter things and what the fuck. And like, that's getting in the way of my fun times with my marriage. Let me tell you.
There you go.
Okay. But my job is to be grounded, keep it going, and then build on that. Right? Get excited.
Yeah.
With the new bunny. Oh my gosh, that's the cutest bunny I've ever seen. It is really cute. Is it cute for me? Do I give a shit? No, but fuck, man, the family sure thinks it's cute. Catherine can't stop staring at this fucking thing. And you know what? It brings her fucking joy. Like, but that's because we're connected. she's also connecting with me on other things, right? So,
Right.
but that contempt, man, you just use that lesson, because
Yeah.
if you think about it, when somebody's talking about it, what it means is they're excited about it. So if you've heard it 10 times, shut your mouth. They're excited about it. Be supportive. Connect with
And they're
them. It's an opportunity,
That's right.
right?
And they're talking and they're connecting, and even if it's redundant or mundane, it's just like, oh, I've heard this shit again. That's not the language of love and intimacy. That's the language of irritation and selfishness. And
Selfish.
it's so, and some of you made the mention of how do I get, here's the thing. You don't want to be connecting in order to get connection. You want to be connecting because that's who you are, because you love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because if you're connecting to get connection, then you're always going to be measuring your connection with the reciprocity, or if they're coming back to you, you're loving so that you can be loved. And that's not connection, that's
No.
selfishness. And
Yeah.
we all do it. Listen, it's not like bad you. I mean, we know this because Cass and I discovered this shit on our own. We like, oh my gosh, we looked into the mirror and saw that that's what we were doing, you know.
Mhm.
And so I want to just encourage you who are listening to this is understand that don't enter into this. Oh, what can I do to make him want to be with me? Nothing. But if you're not authentically loving him, he's never going to see the true love that you're giving him. That doesn't mean that he's going to change, but if he is going to change, he's going to change because you are being real about how you love. And don't approach it as what we call a covert contract. I'm giving to get. Approach it as a one-way street. I'm going to give because that's who I am. And that way, if it's not returned, while it may be sad, it doesn't destroy you, because who you are is not
Mhm.
contingent upon what you get.
James, I'm going to come. This is James commenting. I'm going to come right to you in a sec, but I want to build on this. This is to the point, guys. We believe in this so much that if you want more of this life, you learn to give, that we actually practice what we preach. Like if you go to our app, you would not believe how much free shit is offered. If you were in our
Yes.
programs, every coaching program in the world, business, relationship, health, whatever, you're looking at maybe, if you're lucky, 3 to 6 times a week with coaching. We do 20 plus calls a week. I was it fucking 25 or something, 26 now with all these
Yeah.
new business and
It's a
momentum and
lot.
stuff. Like it's ridiculous how much we give. And you know, people, if you don't know, you couldn't afford a course, so we fucking wrote a book, both Catherine and me, right? You know, James is doing the same thing for his course on this freedom, path to freedom, momentum stuff. Like,
Yes.
why? Because we want to give. We practice what we preach, and you know what happens is we get a lot in return. It's that reciprocity that you didn't plan for. You might, because you understand when we teach you, but it doesn't happen if you do it with intention to get. Let me give you an example. On my social media, people are like, oh, we just want you to buy a book. No, I don't. I don't make any money on a fucking book. That's the dumbest fucking shit I ever heard. If I get some credibility, that's when I've sold 1 million copies. Well, I think we're about 25,000 in, like maybe more. I don't know, but it's not a lot. You know what I mean? Is it more than the normal 100 books a year? Yeah. But like that, no, I don't want you to buy a book. I want you to buy a course because it's more relatable. I want you to hear me speak to you or Catherine speak to you. I want you to be able to take that more. It's more, the book is short. It should be 1,200 pages. But see, we give the book because it's at least a step for many to take. It's something that they can use with our podcast. My wife and I, 3 times a week, scheduling babysitters and this and that. We had to do throwbacks on our podcast this week. We've never done that. We like to do 3 episodes brand new every week. We couldn't we weren't caught up. We were basically on par with what was releasing, film release. And then Catherine's dad passed. So
Yes.
our editor came up with the idea to do throwback episodes. That means I didn't get to give this week because that is time and money. My editor means I pay for you to have free information because many people save their marriage off the podcast and don't ever fucking call us. I got
That's right.
testimonials I post all the time on that.
Yep.
That's giving you guys. So I'm saying all this because we do this. We practice what we preach. The amount of hours that we invest in people. James, you like to do this. You love to get on the phone with guys 10, 15, 30
Too
minutes.
much.
And fucking just, it's too much, right?
It's too
After
much.
real
I
James
love it,
in
though.
because we
Yeah.
don't have enough time in the day to talk to everybody. Those of you who send a novel in a text message in a DM, we can't read all that, but we do our
Yeah.
best to get as much information. We don't coach over DM, but you know, like the whole idea is we practice what we preach. If you guys can wrap your head around this, that is your first step in your marriage to connection. You start giving. Start giving. Catherine?
Yes.
part on a reel we did from the podcast because she said, if you get into a fight with your husband, go back in and say thank you.
Mhm.
Total part. Well, it's the same for you, men. You get into a fight with your wife, go in and say thank you. Why? Because the
Yeah.
more. So James says, my beliefs. Sometimes you can't compromise, sadly. Fair. But what beliefs have changed? Who are you? Most people don't know who they have a job. Maybe I have a job as well. Okay, that's not who you are. So if your beliefs have changed, how deep have you actually gone on this? You know, like the reference that I gave earlier was because I was thinking about a couple that we coach. He's Orthodox and she's Christian. Okay. The beliefs never fucking changed. They were always fucking Orthodox and Christian. Some of you guys don't actually know where you're at, and you have changed and you have lost who you are, which is why Moro has grown so rapidly, because not only are we transparent, but we call you out on the bullshit. James, I want you to put in this chat right now, answer the question, who am I? And then we'll make sure that we can address this. And then give me one of those beliefs that have changed. Because sadly, a lot of times these beliefs are things like, oh, well, you know, I didn't watch porn, but now I do watch porn. That's because you don't want me. Well, dude, like we need to probably think about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable and what's missing with the connection and why that's happening. Another good example, therapists telling people to go swinging now, open up into a poly marriage. Beliefs do not change. You're just fucking horny and not connected. That's all.
Right.
You got to get really real. So write down who you are. Give me one of those beliefs and let's go, James. All right. Chandra says, me and my husband fight all the time. We just don't get along. That statement does nothing for you, Chandra. That statement is just a victimizing statement for you guys. At least it wasn't blame. You said me and my husband. I think that's a good first step. But if you're enemies, then you're not connected. If you're roommates, you're not connected. If life is getting in the way, you're not connected. If you don't know what, start with our podcast. I'll drop it in here and start listening. Start listening to Around Him. Use the talking points on the podcast as talking points and don't go into your issues. Nobody likes talking about the issues. I'm not saying sweep it under the rug. I'm saying if you're fighting all the time, it's because you think you're going to fix it talking about the issues. People just want to have fun, live life, you know, start to address the why it's happening, which is why James is a partner with us now. He has something called a why ladder on our app. And when you start to address why it's happening, you peel back these stupid labels. They're just stickers, man. All you have to do is peel it off. Let me give you a very easy fucking visual. I'm not a fighter, Chandra. I used to be a fighter. I used to be an asshole that would pick a fight every single day with somebody in my life. Then one day I said, holy shit, I'm fighting every 3 days. I like joy. And I peeled the fucking sticker, the label off, and I started to love my fucking wife. That's it. You start to move yourself forward. The app is called Moro. I'll drop a link here. It's easier if you go through the link. It's essentially, there's a men's community, a women's community, Michelle, and you just pick the one that's respected for you. And then we keep men and women separate for a reason, okay? Because we're here to save marriages, not create a dating platform for people fighting with their spouses and moving on. I just had to deal with that this morning, which is why I have a little bit of a grumpy tone with it. All right, the app here, GMM. You're looking at comments too, James?
Yeah.
There was one. No, you want to help people that are going through these issues so maybe they can avoid divorce. Yeah, my premise is disrupting divorce. I'm not a marriage coach. I'm disrupting divorce. You know, when we talk about identity, I'm a creator of life. I'm disrupting divorce. James, he sells freedom. That's what we now say. We don't save marriages. We sell freedom, right? And so you didn't ask me, though, James. You didn't get to me with who you are. That was your homework, buddy. So you can put this back on me. You want to help people, whatever. But yeah, we do. That's why we're giving a free live. Yes, we want to help people. Okay. But what is the answer to the question, James? Who am I? And I mean you. Who are you? What is the question or the answer? And what is one of the beliefs that you and your wife are struggling with? You're welcome, Michelle.
Yeah.
Read the book too. Dale, I'm Tell me what you think. And did you leave a review, man? If you're fortunate enough to find my book, the podcast, please leave a review, guys. The app, help us out. We are blowing up on the podcast. The podcast was 4,000 downloads a week 2 months and a week ago, and now it's 20,000 downloads a week. It's unreal how fastest growing marriage podcast, because it's real. The book, same thing, because of social media, people are finding it. More women read it than men. Women develop an under their husband, which causes empathy, patience, and actually sparks his growth, which is really fucking cool. Men follow the step-by-step plan. A lot of women are following the steps too. And Catherine has her book too. James says, I'm a Christian sinner, and I do the best I can not to. That's very real. I love that, James. My wife and I don't do porn or any of that stuff. We both curse and but not at each other. My wife isn't a believer, and I don't. I have to scroll, and it makes it go away when I scroll. And I don't ever try to push those beliefs on her. When I said beliefs, I meant more along the lines of trying to be open in our marriage, which is something neither of me or whoever want to do. Just an example that I even hit the nail on the head with that one. I didn't even know you. Another belief is maybe being a drunkard, which I don't want either. My wife stopped drinking after she met me because, all right. So, dude, you were already married to an atheist or an agnostic before you got married. You were dating her. You knew the beliefs. So beliefs didn't change. Now you need to understand that's hard, but you can still be a man of faith. You can still have your beliefs. You can still go to church. You can still take your kids. You can still do all of those things, right? And you can pray for your wife, dude. But don't say the beliefs didn't change. Say, I fucked up and I married somebody, but fuck, she's worth it. And what if I can bring her to Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. You can bring her to Jesus. Fuck, I do it every day. I was raised atheist, for fuck's sakes. Okay. Now, going on to pushing the beliefs on her, you don't have to. But I wrote my program. I built my program not knowing who God was. And people said, is this related to the Bible? Is this have the Bible woven through? And now scriptures are woven through for people who want them. And I was raised atheist, man. Love fucking Jesus. You'll save your fucking marriage. You should have, like most Christians are hypocrites. Spiritual leadership is abuse in most homes because you don't even follow it. Love like fucking Jesus, which we talked about earlier with connection. Okay. And then that's not pushing your beliefs on her. Just fucking love like Jesus. Be patient. Forgive. Whatever's going on. And then when you start to get to things like opening the marriage up, well, hell no. Hell no. That's like a common thing counselors are pushing now because they're fucking stupid. Like, in what world are you going to be okay with that? If you are a person who believes in the sanctity of marriage, that's never going to happen. You're going to breed insecurity, anxiety, fear, your deprioritization. I can go on. No, it's not an option. What you need is a connection issue, which is why I brought that up even before you did, James. When I talked about poly, you need connection. If you're not intimate on all levels of intimacy, it's because you probably don't know who you are first. If you're saying we have different beliefs and they've changed, that's what you said earlier, then you don't even know who you are. You can't even identify with the fact that you married an agnostic or an atheist person. That's a fucking problem. Now, that's okay. My wife married an atheist. Okay. Now I have Jesus. Okay. So, like, it's all right. But accept the truth, stop lying to yourself, and now you can ask the right questions, therefore find the right answers. Okay? Yeah. As far as swearing and drinking and shit like that, like, come on, man. You just got to make choices about who you are, what you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I would say this too, Cass, just James, if you want some thoughts on how really to understand how to live the Christian life, just go to my YouTube channel and just look at my most recent teaching from last Sunday and see what you think.
Can you drop your YouTube channel in the chat for them, please, James?
Yep, I'll do it right now.
Trent says, what if you're separated and she wants a divorce? Dude, that's like 58 or 70% of most of our cases, depending on the month. Like, people are separating and she wants a divorce. He wants marriage. It's the other way around also, right? That just means that they're leading you. So, for example, you might try to create, what we do is we teach you to create opportunities to show up as a new person. Okay. So you have to learn to be the new man, Trent, or new woman. Okay. For you guys that are women. And then what happens is you show up creating opportunities. Sometimes that's with your kids. That's easy because you have kids and you're exchanging them, for example. Okay. Other times it might be how you ask for a date. Okay, how you deal with the rejection. If you, what happens is they might to disrespect their boundaries because they want separation. They might think you're manipulating them. Between wanting divorce, wouldn't that mean that you are being manipulated by them, or you are being controlled? You are being, like, here, think about it like this. You're either leading marriage or they're leading divorce. So who's the fucking leader? And this goes for women too. If your husband's the one that's checked out, your husband the one doesn't want to have sex with you, who's the leader? Right? He's not leading you to a sexless bedroom. You're not being enticing enough, connected enough, flirty enough, and maybe not listening enough. Maybe you nag too much. Like, this goes both ways, guys. Okay.
Yes.
Jacob Ringer says, I don't know what that means. Podcast 2. I listened to it. I'm like, I love that you're listening to the podcast. It's eye-opening. Thanks for saying that. Dale, please leave a review for that. Literally just ordered the book, Jacob. Awesome. Michelle, I think mine is a narcissist. I pray every day for him. He is a Christian. Listen, I'm a narcissist. I'm a severe narcissist. I'm self-aware now, and I manage it. If you want more, we are the people to help you. Okay? So listen, narcissists can change just like alcoholics can change. Just like ADHD isn't a fucking problem unless you make it one. I love having ADHD. I could think fucking 9 steps ahead of all of you. Okay? It's a gift if you harness the power. All of it is. But it's in freedom. It's in answering the questions that James will ask you on our app. Like, when you start peeling back the layers. And as the non-narcissist, okay, Michelle, you can support and love your husband in a way that he's never been loved before. All a narcissist means, in my definition, is simple. I don't know how to love consistently. I had to learn. That's it. Okay? That's the simplest way that I can put into perspective for you. Because I didn't know how to love consistently, what that did was I didn't have self-worth. I did not feel good. So I'd give super love bombs to get something in return. And when I didn't feel like I got what I needed, I would attack and destroy Catherine. Okay? That's all it really is. Michelle, you're fucking on it today. She's like, I am codependent. That's good to know. Good. Now, what you need to realize is you're more codependent on yourself and your pain. Okay? That's something that I've come up with. Fuck the codependency with your partner and the trauma bonds and all this shit. Recognize that you enjoy sitting in your own pain. Not that you like it. To sit there than to do something about it. Okay? Michelle, you're saying enough where I think you should get on our app and start asking questions on the women's side.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yep. She should.
A couple of in the fair, and I'm wondering, guys, can you guys break down the reasoning behind why she has put up walls, even though I'm past the issue? Yeah. Okay. So more than likely there was too many talks about it. Okay. Let's break this down first, Mitch. Okay. So affairs, whether it's a man or a woman, there's a whole bunch of mistakes that you made before they cheated. Okay. And I know that they made the mistakes too. Okay. And we can look at morals, but I look at it like this. If you run a red light and they're drunk, okay, and they hit you and you die, we'll call that the affair. Okay. You're still dead, but you ran the red light. Address problem 1, your mistakes first. Then 2, it can be the hardest thing to deal with, but for you to get reconnected and rejoined, keeping your family together, because nobody's growing. Sit there and blame everybody else. Oh, you had an affair, fuck you. Okay. So you can stand out pretty fucking fast, Mitch. Okay. Now, you have moved past the issue, which is amazing. What happens is when you start to grow and you start to show a real reasonable responsibility, it's usually after you guilted them, you shamed them, you wallowed in your despair. Oh, well, what about me and I have to deal with this? You already fucking made them feel shitty. They're going to feel shitty if you grow, but that's different than if you make them feel shitty. Okay? If you want them to be together, you might have forgiven it, but they remember all that. She might need to process more. She might need to get more information out, Mitch. She might need to fucking have you take more responsibility and accountability for those reasons why she had the affair, the 23 mistakes that you make before the physical affair. So there's so much more, okay? Also, being distant could come just from guilt on her own, especially if you're growing, Mitch. if you are doing a lot of great things and being a great man, a typical response for somebody, whether it's a man or a woman, would be looking at the growing partner and go, shit, I fucked up. Like I should have waited. But they don't understand that if it wasn't for that mistake and that rock bottom, you wouldn't have done your growth. You wouldn't have reflected faster. You wouldn't have done more sooner. And it can be a really heavy burden. So in that case, like you could probably go on our app and start James's Momentum and this Path to Freedom, and maybe inspire her to learn more about herself too, right? Not force her to do it, not request, don't please do this to get over it. She has to want to feel better right now, right? The distance comes from those two things though. One, she's not happy with herself, or two, she's still not happy with you, whether or not you're being gentle or not with the affair, forgiving or not with the affair. It's not really probably the issue. And that's what we always say. Remember that one-on-one client we had recently? And I was like, stop fucking, you have an apology problem. Stop fucking asking for an apology. You don't need an apology. You need him to understand why, so that he'll do things differently and act different, and actions will align with words. And you'll know that will never happen again.
That's right.
It was an affair. It was the actual example. Okay.
Yeah. I saw a video the other day, Cass, on social media where this coffee cup was broken, and they just put some tape around it, to put it back together, and then pour the juice in there, and it just leaks through. That's about what an apology's worth if it's not with discovery and wisdom.
Oh, fuck, I love that. You know what's so funny about that? So I filmed a bunch of new content. I'm trying things out, those visual hooks. Like I dress up like a baby and act like a fucking baby these are all things that I said to my wife back in the day. Wives are supposed to submit to their husband, and I'm a baby. Like, yeah, wives are supposed to submit. Like, one of the things that I did was with a lot of props, and one of them was with Band-Aids. I put Band-Aids all over me, and that was my fucking point. Is we're trying to fix shit with a fucking Band-Aid. Apology is just a Band-Aid because we were told by our parents, say sorry you hit your sister. Say sorry you bit your brother. Say sorry for eating their food. That's not fucking apology. That doesn't heal. Empathy heals. They need to understand. We teach our fucking children wrong every day. Some of you are still doing it. You know what I mean? And now you know why you expect an apology when that's not the problem, right? Back to James. Thanks, James, for participating here. I dated her before marriage. I pray for every day. However, it works because she knows them as well, and I would never do that to me. It's awesome that people can learn. I think you're talking about knowing the people you'd sleep with, so I'm done with that. Good luck, dude. I would say if you don't have the marriage that my wife and I have after saving our marriage from the depths of hell, don't do it your way. Just don't. When you have something similar or better, fucking start asking me if you can teach. Fuck, that reminds me. I got a DM from some douchebag a while back. He wanted to be a client, became a client. And then the reason why I say douchebag is only because the way he exited to go do a different program was just, it was brutal. It was just not a good move. Just
tacky.
Yeah. But anyways, he fucking sent me a message. He wanted to chat. He's learned so much. He wants to so many things I could teach men. Get fucked. You got 3 followers and 4 friends. Shut the fuck up. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Until your marriage is good, you guys, don't teach people. Don't. Until you have something you have achieved with making money, getting ripped, figuring out how to work a fucking camera. I don't give a fuck. Saving your marriage. You have nothing to teach. Shut up and learn. The best person in the room is the one who doesn't talk. If I go to a room full of better people, brilliant people, I ask questions. I don't have things to say. Like, I do that with you, James. You do that with me. We do that with other people. We do that with fucking men that we're teaching, right? And you get people who don't know us on social media, and they're like, oh, yeah, I got some fuck. Good God, do it your way.
Yeah.
See how that works out for you.
Yeah. Let me speak to that point. Let me speak to that point real quick. Is that, when you're trying to get somewhere, the worst thing you can do is ask for directions for someone who's never been. And I said this on my call today. I said, there's always, because one of the guys was like, how do I get to the place where people will start seeing me for who I really am and stop looking at me through the lens of who I used to be? And I said, here's the first thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I said, here's the reality of it. The reason that you're on the phone, the reason 48 people were on the phone with me today for an hour, is because I am the absolute only sole expert in what I do. And what is that? My life, my experience, my journey, my path, and I share it with others. And if they can find a way to make it their path, then they're the expert for themselves.
Yes,
And if
yeah,
you want to get somewhere, don't talk to some damn body who isn't there just because they've read it in a book or because they've created some idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen, like belly buttons and buttholes. Everybody's got one. And that's why so many people get stuck, is because they start learning something. They go after somebody who has the information, and that information won't take you to the destination. It'll just get you bogged down on the way. And so
mhm.
we're experts because we live the life we're talking about.
Oh, 100%. Like just James is so humble, but like 760 days fucking anxiety free.
774.
774. Like how many of you would like to not be fucking scared all the time? To sweep up. So one of our one-on-one clients messaged us this morning. It's like 7 fucking things, and one of them was she had to go through his phone. And I rarely work with the women, but I'm working with this woman, and I just explained. So Catherine, I've never had this discussion before, and I was like, "Man, I feel bad for Chelsea." And she's like, "Oh, I said her name, shit." And she was like, "Remember what it was? I remember what it was like to convince myself not to look at the phone. I remember what it was like to be able to challenge myself to go 1 hour longer without looking, or to go to bed instead of waiting up till she's asleep to go through her computer." Fucking security and anxiety and fear, man. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled at what we've become as men and how we show people, men and women, how to break this away. Like this isn't just what we do for men, guys. James, is we've integrated this into Catherine's White Picket Fence project too. The women that are coming out so empowered, it's such a gift to be able to share with. That's why we say we sell freedom, you guys. Like it's unreal. Carol said she's listening to the podcast. Husband doesn't know the next steps. So I dropped a link in there, guys. But please don't go watch that and apply to be in our programs unless you've listened to the podcast. You know us, you trust us. Like Donald says, I love how brutally honest you are. That's how we fucking roll. Like we don't fuck around. I have to kick a guy out of the program today, by the way, James. Fuck, I don't remember how long he's been with us. Maybe 2 years. He doesn't follow our steps and our instructions, and I found out he's sleeping around again. Fuck, that's a coping mechanism. And he's not following the fucking program, and I'm fucking tired of it. He's taking time away from men who want to grow. So I'm kicking his ass out of the program. I got to call him later today. Like, fuck. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, we've all been in that circle the last 10 days.
Okay, yeah, I just found out about it, and I told Dennis I'd take care of it. But
yeah. And that's a long time coming. At the same time, we're very patient because people make mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you come again and again and again, it's all the old adage, don't bite the hand that feeds you type thing.
Yeah.
But we don't chase people. We don't chase men, we make men. And taking responsibility is one of the primary things that you have to do. And so, when someone doesn't take responsibility, then they can't grow. You can't grow.
You can't grow. And James is right. We're very, very patient. Well, I mean, it's just the struggle is real. Your average age is 40 years old that you're undoing of history and patterns and your codependencies and whatever. Okay. So I get it. Right. But when we give you specific instructions, we know exactly what step you need to take based off how you're fucking up. Right. It's unreal. Like you're really that selfish. You really are. I don't mean because of the affair in this case. I mean, because you're choosing to take from everybody else that wants to grow. Yeah. Like it's brutal to me, and I always tell everybody, I don't need your fucking money. I'll fucking boot you out. I don't give a fuck. There's plenty of people who want to grow. You know what I mean? All right, guys, we're going to run off here pretty quick. So let me know if there's any more questions for James or me. Donald says it took me 16 months to break free of that. I'm thinking you're meaning anxiety, insecurity, all that. Yeah, for me, it was very, very fast, but I put myself through hell. When I teach men in my program how to break free of insecurity, I put you through an anxiety fucking test you will never Well, it's called 7 Minutes of Hell, and every man that goes through it goes, "Fuck you, Cass, but thank you." It's hell, and it's basically a 10-minute exercise that I couldn't put in my book for obvious reasons because it's audio. That what I did was I basically imagined my wife. So I did it for hours back when I did it. Hours. We'd watch The Bachelor, I think was the show at the time that she wanted to watch, and I would imagine her getting just railed by every single one of those guys, and I had to have a normal conversation with her right as that was happening in my mind, and so I learned to deal with how I felt and respond, not react. Learned to have normal conversations, even though I was putting myself through all this, and it wasn't real, right? And so from there, though, I had to manage it. You probably still, Donald, have things come up. I don't think I just know how to shut it off now. I know how to tell what's real and what's not real. I know
That's right.
if I'm scared, right? Not looking like panicked, assuming the worst and all this stuff, right? I'm trying to walk and listen to Christian music. That's cool. That's good. Worship is powerful. You know what I mean? Catherine does that all the time too. And somebody said, "I'm glad you found God now." I think, yeah. If you don't know that part of the story, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to learn. Like so, for 9 years, I went to church, and it's about a year ago now. I got back about a year ago, 2 weeks ago, actually. I got back from Africa. I was like, enough is enough. I'm going to Africa to find out if Jesus is real. So I spent 10 grand and went to Africa for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so. So, but I do what it takes, whether it was my marriage, whether it was making money, whether it was finding out if God was real. Most people rather watch fucking Netflix, right?
That's
Yeah.
it.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you say don't take directions from someone that's never been. That's the issue that's creating distance. I was speaking of earlier in the thread. Mitch, oh, sorry, I said Michelle. Mitch, I can't even tell you how frustrating this is for me. For James, for other coaches that are partnering with us, it's ridiculous how many people they talk like they've achieved something to try to feel better about themselves or some shit. They sell something. I always tell everybody our biggest competitor, I won't say his name on a live, but our biggest competitor has never been married. What the fuck are you doing saving marriages? Like what? You might know a bunch of the skills, but you don't have them all in a book, man. From 5,300 couples in the last 3 years, plus our own hell. That's how we know. From 700 and what did you say, 77 days anxiety free?
774. Yeah.
774. Me and my accidental journey overcoming insecurity, anxiety, figuring out how I had to be. We know what the fuck we're talking about, and people will sell you. It's a new thing now. Have you noticed on social media, people are talking about teaching how to do identity, how to find who you are? You can't believe it. It's like the new fucking buzzword. And it's like, good God. You know how long our program is? How many questions? It's 160 fucking days, and then you repeat just for identity. Now, it doesn't mean it's like hours and hours of work, but it's like it's a fucking process.
Yeah.
Derived from, I never know the number, fucking 40 journals James took as he wrote, as he went through, as he experienced it. What questions, what analyzing. James has like a bunch of degrees. He's mastered black belts and fucking all kinds of shit. Who just went to fucking school is going to fucking know how to do this?
No.
Good God, people.
No.
Yeah. Learn from people who have been where you've been. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like to say it this way, Cass. A lot of people they get around your fire, the fire that you are, and they want to get warmed by it. And they think that that's transformation. But what they don't understand is they have to become their own fire to be forged.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just get warmed by somebody else's fire. You have to go through the fire and be forged.
You have to go through the fire, guys.
You have to go through the fire.
We started this whole
and we're
thing
not
today.
Done. Neither one of us are done.
No, man. We talk about the best version. You're never your best version. You know, there's a reason why we have a course what's the full course worth now? I think it's worth 25 grand. We don't sell it for 25 grand, but we keep adding to it. Now, that's not what most people get, right? But it's because you're never done growing. So people will always look for more from us, always try to find, because we always create the next thing. We noticed that 98% of people that come to us are broke. Math doesn't lie. So we created a business course. Like, you should know how to make money. Like, it's fucking like somebody who was here, Jacob. I've replaced video games with listening to podcasts and learning. Good, because you should learn how to fucking make money. You know what I mean? Why are we wasting time? I don't watch TV. Dennis and I were talking yesterday on one of the coaching calls. I watched one movie, Ghostbusters, because my kids wanted to watch it. The whole family fell asleep. And because it was like the new movie has like the old cast in it, you know, I was like, I remember Ghostbusters. I watched it. That's the first movie in fucking 4 months or something that I watched. Fuck, man. Who's got time for that shit? Like, I give people shit on my podcast all the time because I can see, James, how many people listen to it on a daily basis, how many downloads you get. On the weekend, it's always less than half. How do you get fucking 5,000 downloads on a Friday and then Saturday and Sunday, people are fucking doing nothing? And you wonder why your life is shit. You need a break? That's like you guys fucking diet. And then you have a cheat meal. Holy shit, man. When you're eating healthy, do you have when you're eating like shit, do you have a healthy cheat meal? No. You are the product of the life you create. And you don't like your life, so you blame everyone else. Yeah. Let's get fucking real, man.
That's it. Yeah, I think I breathe all the time. I think I'm going to suffocate myself for just a half a day. Just a half a day.
Oh, that's like when I talk about. That's when I talk about, like, you know, people start, oh yeah, Cass and James. They talk about, Catherine talks about core values. I'm like, growth is not a core value, man. That, like, fuck.
It's living.
It's yes. I mean, like, come on. That's like saying a core value is to wipe your ass. Like, come on, man. That's not a core value. But the person and the hygiene and the life that you live, we can probably find something in there. It's a thing you must do, and the growth comes. The cleanliness happens. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got to get more dialed in on that.
Yeah.
People just posting bullshit. That's all it is, right? Because social media has become the wave of information now. You know what I mean?
Tons of it.
Yeah. All right, man. I think we should call it today.
Sounds good. Been a good talk.
Yeah. Going to be here every week, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Central, and we'll answer all your questions. And guys, questions down and be ready to go. We don't have to start with the topic. We do that because we're ready for you, but you're not ready for us. Maybe you guys are not watching the podcast weekends too. All right. See you guys.
So.
Bye.